Here's my phone. I'm going to call on the dial pad 123. Listen to the intervals. Which moved, the top note of the two notes you hear or the lower one? The lower one stays the same, the top one moves. Listen between all of these numbers when I dial 147 star. The top number stays the same, but the lower number moves up. Okay, what if I move diagonally? I can't show you that because people I know might start showing up. Okay, so if I move across this way, this is what I get on the piano. And if I move downwards, I get this. So that is kind of an encoding of intervals on this phone. So you can listen to the tune that it creates when you dial up your friends. And if you listen carefully and you dial the same number often, you can begin to memorize the little tune that is your friend's phone number. I dialed up my best friend often with my fingers. It was not speedboat dial, it was a rotary phone when I was really small. And even that was old-fashioned for us then. And I memorized the sound, especially when we got the push buttons. I memorized the sound of my best friend's phone number. Then, when I was older, there were some long numbers that I had to remember. For example, I called Belgium often when I was dating my husband who was living there. So that was a long-distance relationship, and the number was really long. To call out of the country, you first have to dial 011, and then the country code was 32, and then it was this really long number that wasn't in the same format as US numbers. So I wanted to memorize. I was motivated to memorize it right away. So I ascribed a scale degree to each of the numbers. This was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then this was 9, and then what to do with 0, because I even started with 0. So either 0 can be a step below 1, or it can be the 5 an octave lower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0. So I used that as 0, and I went 0, 1, 1, 3, 2, and the rest of the phone number, I'm not going to play it, even though it sounds very nice, because then you would have a good ear and you would hear it and you would call them, and that would not be a good move. So my own number sounds really nice too, but I can't share that with you because it's private. And don't share yours with me because I would call you, because I can figure it out. So, I wonder if that's Popeye's phone number. Don't call them. All right, so you can also put names and messages in scale degrees. For example, if you take all of the letter names in the scale, C, A, B, B, A, G, you can spell the cabbage song, or edge, or F-A-C-E, face. However, that is a little bit limiting because you're only allowed to use A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But if you kept going and assigned other letter names to the scale degrees or some black keys, you could start spelling your name or your friend's name or send them messages. And Bach, he wrote his own name into his compositions. In Germany, B is actually H, and then B flat is what they call B. So he would spell B-A-C-H, and he would be putting his own name into his compositions. Haydn had some way to do this too. I'm not sure how he did it, but I remember there's a composition where it says H-A-Y-D and his name N, and he puts it right into the composition. So I hope this gives you some kind of a different creative way of looking at composition ideas. And definitely just sticking in a phone number randomly isn't always going to get you a musical result, but you can check out if you have an ugly phone number or a beautiful phone number. And if you have a long one to memorize or a long series of numbers, then that's up to you. At one point I had pi memorized up to 100 digits, and I did it through musical tones. I've forgotten it since then, but it was a fun party trick for a while to be able to recite that off. And I was hearing it in my mind as far as phone numbers go, or like the scale degree numbers. So if you have long numbers to remember, then you can use that. One more something you might want to try to encode into your music is the Fibonacci sequence. And if you don't know what that is, that's the coolest thing. You could look it up. But the 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. I don't know if I've got that perfect, but that's something I have been learning about recently. I'd really like to try putting that into a composition somehow. So I hope you enjoy this kind of a different look at melodies and scale degrees, and maybe you will be able to be put to good use in your own work. Enjoy!